This, of course, has been happening since last night when this all really broke down. Former President Trump's mugshot released after he was booked into the Fulton County Jail in Georgia last night. This is the first mugshot ever taken of a former U.S. president. So he slammed that fourth indictment after posting a $200,000 bond. Listen to what he said.
We should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others.
Trump is one of 12 co-defendants who have so far had their mugshots released in the Georgia election case. Joining me now is Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, and it's great to see you, sir. Of course, you're the author of the book, Get Trump, The Threat to Civil Liberties, Due Process, and Our Constitutional Rule of Law. Your initial reaction to the charges against President Trump and also this issue of a mugshot. I mean, he put it out there on social media. He's obviously fighting back, Alan.
Well, he should. In my book, Get Trump, I predicted all four of these indictments. The strategy is to get a quick trial, get him convicted in jurisdictions that are overwhelmingly anti-Trump, and then not worry about it being reversed on appeal, because the reversals on appeal will occur after the election.
Well, guys, they got him. They got Donald Trump. They got the mugshot, and boy, are they excited about that. But I also think they're a little confused as to how they're supposed to be responding to this. There's a couple of different ways that we are seeing people respond to this, and I'll just be completely honest with you. It's a little weird. It really is. But let's take a look at the Atlantic first. They're telling you right now, he wants you to look at him. Trump's mugshot was supposed to be a moment of humility for him. But now he's using it as a threat. These people think that this was supposed to humble him. Why? I have absolutely no idea. I'm not a big Trump fan, not voting for him in the primary, but even I know that there's 0% chance this is going to humble Donald Trump. And this idea that it's a threat and people are being put in harm's way is just, you know, the typical American media way of handling almost everything with Donald Trump. We're scared about what might happen here. It's scary and fearful, and we're afraid. And so anything Donald Trump does, that's scary and harmful. That's been their shtick this entire time. That's why you see barricades everywhere. Oh, we're putting up barricades because there might be chaos outside the courthouse in Fulton County, Georgia. Oh, it didn't come? Well, they must have got afraid then. Bunch of cowards. It kind of goes back and forth like that every single time. Now, that wasn't the only response. This idea that they should have humbled him, and now he's just more angry now, so he's even more scary now. Oh, we're afraid. Not even the dumbest response. This one is actually the dumbest response. It comes from MSNBC's Reid. Now, there's a response a little later that I'll share with you from Van Jones of CNN. But this one's dumber. Just listen to the hatred in this woman's voice and ask yourself, if there was a white face saying this stuff about Barack Obama, if they'd have a job.
Vile, racist, anti-democracy buffoon he was. This is the buffooning of the American presidency. This should not be happening. So as a teenager living in New York, I've said it before, this is the reason I never watched The Apprentice. Yeah. I despised Donald Trump because he, to me, signified the rich white guy in Manhattan that absolutely hated and despised me. Yeah.
There are picture after picture after picture of Donald Trump standing with people like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and other black, quote-unquote, leaders. This guy was not some hateful monster. She's going to reference the Central Park Five. They love going over that. They love it. They love hitting that note. They say that implies that he's racist. In hindsight, it looks really bad. But they just use it as a weapon. That's all that's about. He was upset that Central Park was becoming unsafe. He wanted the people involved tried and charged. He thought they were the people involved. He got it wrong. Criticize him for that. But had it been 5 white guys, would he have acted any differently? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But Reid is insane.
that hated and despised my cousins, my friends, everyone we knew, that called us wilding just because we were in the park, that said we can't be free to walk around in the street, that said when Patrick Dorismond got killed by an off-duty police officer, he's no choir boy. And he was literally, was no altar boy. He was literally an altar boy. Giuliani said that.
Oh, okay, so let's make sure we understand this. Donald Trump never even said that thing that you wanted to say that he was saying. Okay, so then you said, oh, no, it was Rudy Giuliani who said it, but still Donald Trump is bad because of it. And the phrase, you're not a choir boy, it does not necessarily mean literally a choir boy. It's a turn of phrase, Joy, Reid, that means you're not really a good guy. Okay, that's what it means. And again, these guys are allowed to be wrong. It doesn't make them racist. That's your hang-up, as you've explained here before, and you're going to explain here.
And so people like Giuliani and people like Trump persecuted black and brown people in New York. It's what they...
Donald Trump persecuted people who were black and brown in New York as a business owner and a guy who donated to liberal causes his entire life. Okay, that makes sense.
They did for fun. It's what they did for pleasure. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed lording over people who had nothing, who had no $1 million lawyers, who couldn't change lawyers at the drop of a hat and get a different hip hop lawyer the next day when they were tired of one, who couldn't go out and make their case on, Fox or on Newsmax, who had nothing, and who Donald Trump lorded his everything over, and still people who looked like them put him in rap songs. It was an indignity to me that something I loved, a culture I love, would lionize that. And so to me, this is justice. The fact that Manhattan didn't give him a mugshot, I thought was offensive. I thought that the Fed said, we already know what he looks like. He was the president of the United States. Okay, offensive. Everyone else had to take him. This case, and I think Fonnie Willis is a hero. She is a national hero because she, more than any prosecutor in this country, and I respect Jack Smith and I respect all the prosecutors that are doing this, she's the only one who said these wealthy, powerful, privileged men and women are just American citizens.
So Joy Reid is basically saying she doesn't care if he's convicted or not. All she cares about is that they got their mugshot, because not doing a mugshot was wildly offensive. What's offensive is someone who is so out of touch, having so much stroke in the American media that they can stay employed no matter what they do. That's somewhat offensive. But that was the worst response so far. There's a weird one, too. It's Van Jones, CNN. He uses this as an opportunity to go off on some tangent about a very odd take on how people don't really want to be seen having a conversation about what really matters. Instead, they're doing this stuff.
But there's a lot of hurt out there.
There is.
And we're not talking about it. The main problem that most people have is not Donald Trump and it's not Joe Biden. The main thing they're scared of? The check engine light. Because when that check engine light goes on, that's $3,000, baby, that you don't have. And every day you're driving to work hoping it doesn't cut on. And who cares about it? You got people who have real problems out here. And they're watching this and they're saying, one thing I know for sure, none of these people care about me. And that's the big issue. To me, my concern is that the only thing we have is each other. To your point, it is really getting bad where we can't talk to each other about anything. Listen, you put something on the table, I'll put something on the table. Do I like lawyers getting arrested? That's scary. Mm-hmm. That's scary because a lot of times the only people think my people have are lawyers. Now, if lawyers are going to get in the crosshairs, that's scary for me. But I can't say that because I don't want to give any aid and comfort to the other side when these bad lawyers are getting in trouble. So the nuances get chased.
It's interesting. He doesn't want lawyers getting arrested. That's his problem here. And the broader point about no one's talking about what's going on in the economy, that's true. It is. But this is just strange to make that sort of the argument here. And he's couching it in this weird side. Later on, far later on, he'll go into a conversation about whether or not, and this is odd, you would hire somebody with a mugshot. And he's saying a lot of people have mugshots out there. Would you hire somebody with a mugshot? Because everyone's saying, oh, look, you got a mugshot. You're bad. You're terrible. You're awful. You're no good. Would you hire somebody with a mugshot? And I guess he's asking the left if they would hire people with mugshots after they demonize him. And then he's asking the right if they'd hire somebody with a mugshot after they say it's not a big deal. That's an interesting take. This thing was weird. It's like, oh, people don't care about what's going on in the real world. Well, I mean, you're part of the problem. CNN's part of the problem. They're all part of the problem here, folks. That's the issue at hand. They're not living in the real world, but they never have been.